and gentlemen, to Season 9 of the Rocket League Championship Series. This is Week 2 for North America, and oh boy, we got the Soniqs coming in here, currently 0-1, but they went to Game 5 against the reigning world champs, going up against Spacestation, one of our Worlds teams. All of the teams that went to Worlds in Season 8 won their games in Week 1. We'll get to see if any of them lose here in Week 2, but Spacestation looking strong, and Gibbs saying that they are a possible first-place team this season.
Yeah, I actually definitely believe that. I mean, last week I said Spacestation easily finishes anywhere inside of the top 4. Number 1, definitely a potential, because they did look fantastic at the Worlds. They kind of fell apart at the end of it, but across the season, took second place. They looked good. They put up a decent showing at the start of Worlds, and they looked good last week. So I think Spacestation is definitely a quality team. However, I think Corelli makes a great point. Yes, all of these Soniqs guys, they're all people who have played plenty of times against all the Spacestation people. He is absolutely right when he says they know exactly what they're getting into. It's very similar like last season, I should say, when we were sitting there thinking, you know, it's going to be a lot closer when Birds and Knights play than a lot of people think, because they spend a lot of time playing each other, and the Birds ended up taking the win. So I think Corelli makes a great point when he says the Soniqs know exactly what to expect when they play Spacestation here.
And the Soniqs got quite the warm-up in Week 1 as they went up against the world champs for their beginning debut performance in RLCS. If you could have, we debated it a lot last week of like, if you could play NRG Week 1 or if you could play them like Week 8, which would you prefer? Would you like to have the whole season to warm up, or would you like to get them out of the way at the very beginning and have them kind of like set the standard for what RLCS performance looks like? And I think playing against NRG, putting up a valiant 5-game effort there. Yes, they got a little bit of help from the own goals, but one of those own goals was very forced.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that like Soniqs honestly performed very well. I liked their look, and I'm excited to see how they do going up against a non-defending world champion team.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited to see how Soniqs play as well, because I didn't give them a lot of credit last week either. I was like, I don't know. And then they put up an excellent show versus NRG, and they're absolutely right. I don't think NRG played up to potential either last week.
Yeah.
But that being said, you still were able to put up a solid showing against one of the stronger defenses in North America. The only part of NRG that I didn't particularly think looked good last week was the offense. I thought the defense still played quite normal, and the fact that they were still able to have a measure of decent success against that defense bodes well for the Soniqs. So I think there's a lot of good potential here, especially because they make a good point. AXB is going to be a big swing factor here.
Yeah.
If AXB is able to perform well on the defense, because that was what my whole Telestrator segment was on last week. If AXB's defense is on point, Soniqs are going to struggle.
No, and then AXB has been slowly becoming more and more of an offensive powerhouse on this team as well, and he's starting to become more flashy. We talked a lot about Arsenal and Typical. AXB, kind of the player that got slept on last season, but I saw it's like Week 2. I think it was this week last season. We did like way too early MVP predictions.
Yes.
And I was like, AXB is pretty good. What are you talking about? And I've actually really enjoyed watching AXB grow into a player that more people can say, yeah, I think this guy could possibly do it. So we'll see how this looks here in Week 2. Spacestation Gaming taking on the Soniqs. So best of 5. Spacestation in the orange, Sonic in the blue. Start on DFH. AXB in his own corner. Carried over the top of Dapper, and then underneath Sathu. A nice advance here. A little bit of help from the Soniqs on that one. Arsenal up, and then we'll see if AXB moves in. No, he chooses to rotate out, leaves it for Arsenal, but Shock. Play this one out to midfield and finds the extension. Now up against Typical in net. They'll get a kill, but can he get the pass across? Here comes Sathu for the shot, and that'll be goal number 1 of game number 1.
Real nice job. That goes back to AXB not winning that challenge, because you said he has a choice. Does he turn around and go for this, or he runs out? He left the play to try and go back on defense, tried to be a very aggressive third man, cut that counterattack off, missed the challenge, and then his teammates just weren't able to get back in time to really make a good stand against a solid counterattack.
Yeah, excellent performance. I believe it was Shock that had the kill. There they kind of got the nice slow pass, an easy one for Sathu to finish off, and Soniqs will take the first lead. Typical into the corner, and he's looking for bumps in net, but Shock already airborne, will beat Arsenal. Now AXB's got to get a piece of this, and he does. He'll slow it down, allow the rest of his team to rotate in behind him. And Dapper will slow play it as well, kind of turned around in goal. Typical takes a shot. AXB tries to maintain control as he'll get the boost grab, and now they'll set up in the air. A nice play off the ceiling, looking for the air carry to the far side. He's got it killed in front. Oh, Arsenal tries to come in just a little bit too slow. Dapper will be able to make the play and block that shot, but an excellent setup there. Spacestation looking hot.
That's the poise, though, out of that Soniqs defense that they had to stand firm against NRG last week. AXB, it was a nice try. He had great command on the air dribble, but unfortunately too much, and two people
Dapper, just off the crossbar and back out. Had a free shot at the defense as they moved in the goal. Now Shock will look to make the same sort of AXB style play. Sypical coming down, it's off to the edge. Now Dapper once more, onto the wall. Rest of his team's nowhere to be found, but the 2 bumps there. Shot goes up, tries to fake out AXB. Sathu over the shot, and it goes in. Oh my goodness, Space Station's defense struggling right now.
Yeah, it kind of just, they run into each other right there. And Shock actually got bumped off, but AXB was playing the shot that was going to come off of Shock. AXB was expecting to make a challenge, and when Shock got bumped, AXB just drops it right back into the middle. And then everybody on Soniqs just waiting there in the midfield to pounce on it.
I'm trying to think of a situation I've seen before, and does Dapper get this one too? No, Sypical will get there in time, where one defender bumped a defender into the 3rd defender. Like, all 3 players making mistakes there. A little bit forced as well, but AXB finds the absurd angle out of the corner, and there's Space Station on the board.
And that's a much-needed goal. You've had a couple of weird sequences in the midfield, and here you just realize you have a very tight window to go for. This is either an infield pass across the box or you go for the back post. And AXB, to be honest, it doesn't really matter which one he goes for. Since he got it all the way across, it was out of the range of the defense anyway.
Well, Sypical had an opportunity but gets bummed. Now Arsenal's got to play defense, and I don't know, Dapper's not going to quite be able to get under the crossbar again. And it'll be Sathu versus AXB, pitches across. Arsenal sends it into the blue, and now he'll be looking for the setup. Here it comes down to Sypical. He'll be the first one there, but it's into the corner, and now Dapper up against AXB. Again, still dangerous here. The Soniqs are struggling to get this one out of their half. Arsenal in the midfield once more, popped it really high. Sypical's going to chase this one, and Sathu did as well, but Sypical beat him there. And now across the box, Shock off the backboard's got it, but AXB with a lot of space here. He'll take a shot, and it's just too high. Sathu will look to extend this one over to the edge and see if Dapper can find a clear.
And that challenge from AXB there allows Space Station Gaming to stay on the offensive third of the pitch and steal away that midfield boost, which means Soniqs just don't have enough to really follow this one into the other half. They try and get aggressive, and they leave Shock in a 2-on-1 back the other way.
Arsenal versus Shock in the corner. Now Sypical sets it up, Shock with space, but now out of boost. He leaves it for Sathu. AXB will kill it in the midfield. Sypical, that bounce does not go in his favor. And he gets bumped out of the way. Now it's up to AXB, still going in Soniqs' direction. Sypical stretches, makes the save. Nobody's airborne for Soniqs. There's Sathu coming from the midfield, but no shot. 1:44 on the clock. Soniqs, they took an early lead, and they're holding on to it.
And AXB just getting in the face of all the defenders there. Caution to the winds, and looks like a Pittsburgh Knights play.
Man, Sathu gets bumped twice, still makes the block, and then transitions onto offense. Arsenal high in the air, still half of his tank to work with, but lost control. Dapper will push it onto the backboard once more. And these clears will be great for Soniqs. Burn time off the clock, force Space Station to find some sort of semblance of offense. AXB will try to get it out to Sypical, but he outdistances his teammate, but no one he challenges. Now Sypical onto the backboard. Dapper will find a nice long clear as we approach the final minute of game 1.
It's a risky attempt there from AXB going for the long pass, and the demo in the midfield means Space Station need to take care here.
Ooh, the top of one. Now AXB playing it back. Sathu in the corner, a bit of time given by both sides. Arsenal now, a pass across, but no one's in the box to take it. 38 seconds left. We're starting to get to the point for Space Station where they're going to have to start being aggressive and maybe leave some risky spots on defense open.
And it's Arsenal. That's the guy who you look to really get the setup going and beat defenders and get it there. So I'm looking for him to have a big couple of tries here in the last 20 seconds.
Sypical going for the air carry. Can he get it underneath Dapper? Dapper's midfield reads have been spot on. Soniqs have benefited from it greatly. In the final 10 seconds, Arsenal's airborne, but Dapper again in the midfield, so high. AXB on the respawn should be able to get this touch, and it's up to his teammates, but no one's really in a position to take care of it. He just cleared it out, and now Sypical, the long clear, no one's there. Dapper will just kill it straight down. Soniqs take game number 1. Space Station struggling to find each other in the passing lanes right now.
Yeah, they definitely tried a couple times there at the end, but there was great awareness out of the midfield. Soniqs understanding they didn't lose track of anybody, and you can see Arsenal, an 86-point game, dead silent. And Arsenal is probably one of the most, if not the most, important aspect of that Space Station offense. And so they kept him absolutely quiet.
I want to watch this again as we see it on the replay. The defenders bumping into each other. Was any of it forced? as it was so it was not.
Yeah,
three
Arsenal
players. AXB was in net, and Arsenal got bumped by a Soniqs player, but AXB still baited in by that.
Well,
completely whiffs.
Again, I was touching on it a little bit because AXB was going up to challenge Soniqs and stop the shot, and as soon as Shock got bumped, well, AXB isn't in a position to tap the ball into the corner. If he knew Shock was going to get bumped, he would have made a much better touch. But unfortunately, you can't expect that one of your players is going to get bumped and then hit the guy who's about to shoot the ball, and it's just a comedy of disaster right in front of the net. And that kind of is what happened with both goals there, because AXB was the man responsible in that midfield who tried to get real aggressive on that first goal to try and keep the offense going, and it got put over his head, and then they were just in a bad spot. And the second one is just a result of who knows what happened.
Yeah, no, it fell apart a little bit. That one definitely one that we could break down in full maybe in future weeks.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack in that one. But the first goal, I loved the side field challenges. I think that the challenge game from Soniqs right now is very, very strong.
Yeah.
They're giving themselves opportunities, and that first goal that they scored just managed to get that final challenge right next to the goal and set up the shot for Sathu. And now starting it off with some kickoff pressure. Soniqs looks to recreate that same success. AXB now off the backboard. Is he going to find this? Oh my goodness, AXB waterfalls it straight down. And the Space Station came to play.
And finally, there's that long pass play that they get off uncontested, and the perfect read from AXB.
The boosting down, realizing I got to get down fast here. Oh, what a shot. AXB, we talked about him before the game, starting to become more of an offensive player.
It's all that improvement during the offseason on both sides. He got relegated into being just get in the face of the opposing team and let Sypical shoot the ball because his finishing was having a bit of a struggle in terms of the shooting accuracy, and Arsenal trying to go behind all the defense.
For once, the woodwork. Playing well as a defender. There's a nice shot. Sathu gets it away. Now Sypical pass across to Arsenal. He'll look for the shot. Finds it. Excellent placement. Just out of reach of the defenders. Up by 2 now is Space Station.
You were just saying in between games, the passing from Space Station Gaming being well defended by Soniqs, and here's 2 uncontested touches out towards attackers for Space Station, and Arsenal on the second chance drills that one.
Not a defender anywhere near the ball on the pass or the shot. Kickoff going in Soniqs' favor. They've been getting these balls straight towards the goal a few times. Shock demolished high in the corner on offense. Dapper's touch is a bit lofty.
Yeah, I thought it was good initially until I realized just how floaty it was.
Yeah, easily read by the backboard defense. AXB now a pitch across. Arsenal chases down. Towards the back, Shock will have it on the backboard and looks to keep control, carried out of his corner, but Sypical gets it off of 1, over 2, and out in front of the box. The rest of his team not pushing forward, maybe a bit of miscommunication as to who should go. They'll have to fall back onto defense now.
Oh, Shock going for the bump there on Sypical. Soniqs willing to take some real aggressive risks and pull themselves out of position to try and open windows of opportunity.
Dapper's positioning on reading where this ball is going and where the Space Station players are putting it has been very, very strong. He hasn't had to work too hard. He's just always in the right spot and able to kind of use the speed that Space Station is putting on this ball against them. 3:13 left to go, though. They need to get it onto offense. They've not found a way to score just yet. This one dangerous in front of the box once more. AXB shot completely wide, and Dapper tries to get up in time. Arsenal's got it now. AXB trying to get over the top of Shock. It's still in this corner, and Sypical's now lurking up. AXB looks to set it up for him. Lofted again, but to the corner. No shot for Space Station.
You're talking about Arsenal and his field awareness. Oh, he just misses the ball. Oh, he was so close.
Man, a similar shot to goal number 1, but Dapper just missing on defense leaves it for Sypical.
I mean, that's a tough one. He was coming at it from in front of the ball, so he did have to try and time that flip to get behind it and still make contact with the car. And unfortunately, just a few millimeters off.
And it's so easy when the ball's directly above. Shock nearly reaches that ball. It's so easy, though, when the ball is directly above your head to not be entirely, perfectly aware of exactly your car's position. A demo on goal line, though, nearly gives a 4th goal here to Space Station as they are starting to run away with game number 2. There's still half the game left to play, but a 3-goal lead. It's a pretty difficult comeback. Soniqs, they can do this one. Oh, the setup. Here's Dapper with the shot. There's a great way to start it. 2:19 left to go, and they've got the first one.
And that is just brilliant. Sathu wins the ball. Shock takes it away from the defense, and that's a quality touch. Arsenal, he knew he had to get up there quick, but Dapper just reading the play quicker excellent bit of assist work from Shock there.
Dapper spent some time away from the RLCS, but he's found a way back onto a roster, gets a goal here in game number 2. A demolition on the goal line could open up some space, but AXB is quick to fill the gap. And by some time, gets it over the top of 2, gets caught on the wall in a weird way, and won't be able to chase his ball, but was a little bit low on boost anyway. Sathu beats 2 now, and there's Typical. A bump in net, does it pave it? Oh, Dapper's right there, exactly where the ball's gonna be. And now Sathu into the corner, looking for that transition, see if they can get that second goal.
Curious to see if Space Station continue the aggression or if they'll just back off a little bit.
Dapper through 2, Sathu's up 4 players, look like airborne for this shot. AXB, the only one really not involved. On the edge, Shock, a boomer, Typical, the response, and now trying to pitch it with Arsenal
nice.
Towards the goal. Sathu has the read, but the pressure on from Space Station still.
It was a very nice try from Space Station there to really put game 2 out of reach. Shock with a little dip and dive left and right. Gets away from a demo, but the Soniqs just getting stuffed out. They really haven't been able to control the ball on the Space Station half.
Dapper towards Sathu, AXB cuts in. Now onto the backboard, the clear's there for Soniqs. They need this second goal. They need to have time to get that buzzer beater. So we're into the final minute. Shock to the edge. Sathu onto the side, and AXB with a response. Now the pass up towards Sathu, Arsenal's got it. Dapper now back. Typical and AXB in this corner with lots of space. They're happy just to slow down the pace of this ball and just let the clock burn down. A 2-goal lead. It's perfect time just to play the clock. Sathu towards the middle, AXB's there, nobody on the Soniqs finding it. Oh, Typical nearly finds the behind the ball shot. The final 30 seconds, man, Soniqs struggling to find any real shot on goal, much less just even midfield control.
Felt like the inverse of game 1. Game 1 was a lot of Space Station not really being able to get the passes going across and feeling like a Soniqs player was just always in the passing lane ready to cut things down. And this game felt like the same thing just for Space Station Gaming, except at the start of it, oh, I thought Arsenal was going to turn that in. At the start of it, Space Station, much better job of finding each other across the field, and unfortunately Soniqs not able to do much.
Now Cleo kill game number 2. Space Station bounced back cleanly here with a 3-1. Was a 3-0 at one point. The 4-0 comeback is kind of the holy grail of Rocket League or of RLCS, which happened I think one time ever. There's been a comeback from 3 goals down a good handful of times, like 11 or 12 times in 9 seasons. So that kind of 3-goal lead is where you could start to feel like this game might be really already over. Soniqs tried to rally, but not quite able to find it.
And their only goal was a brilliant effort from Shock to get in front of the Space Station defense and throw it off the ceiling. But unfortunately, the rest of that game really was just Soniqs having to battle at that midfield line. And when they finally won it, it was a long clear that they had to make a second challenge on to really try and hold on to control. And that's just a product of great layering of Space Station Gaming, the timing of your challenges, when you're approaching the ball, and forcing the opposition to hit it onto your half. So credit to Space Station here in the midfield, a complete turnaround from game 1.
I do want to point out Dapper here. We talked about him a few times in that game. He scored the only goal, but still's the bottom of the scoreboard. So you take away the 100 points he got from that, he's nearly like a 200 points, like a personal score underneath his teammates. He's playing very passively, but he's, I think, making the most effective touches on defense. Right?
Oh yeah, I wanted to bring that up in the middle of that game. Dapper has definitely had. You were talking about he's always in the right place at the right time, and I was sitting there on his camera for a good minute and a half, and it's like, well, why does Dapper always in the right place at the right time? He's sitting there, he turns his ball camera on and off so many times that he's always just getting a good swivel look all the way around the pitch to really understand where everybody is, and he's making sure not to lose track of people. So he understands that, you know, if a Space Station person is passing that ball left to right, he knows why, because there's somebody there, and it's not just a touch to beat a player.
Game 3. Tied up at 1 game apiece, guaranteed at least game 4. Typical. Midfield trying to give his team some presence on the field. AXB with a nice extension. Here comes Shock. Typical now up. Goalie demolished, but not much control. And now, oh my goodness, 3 demos in a row. A momentary 2v1, I think, happens. There's a shot from Dapper in the midfield, but no good. Now Arsenal towards AXB, just barely makes the touch at the last moment to make the save. Typical looking to control this one, baits in Sathy, but he's out of boost. AXB moves in to take over. He's also low on boost, only 3 to his name. Dapper and Shock a little bit confused, but Shock manages to recover. Now looking for the save. Can he do it? Oh, doesn't quite find that aerial shot. And AXB was able to push it back to midfield.
And Dapper was positioned all the way across the net there, expecting a challenge to pop out across the goal and look for the rebound, and now he's trying to set one up.
Here comes Dapper looking for the pass back out. Sathy's up for it, but AXB in time makes the block. Shock off the wall, wrapping around, double commit on defense. AXB's right there. Interesting positioning that just works out for Spacestation. Sathy demolishing his corner, but this ball sent to no man's land, and everyone's got to adjust. Arsenal on the back wall, leaves it for AXB, gets called off by his teammate. 3:19 left to go, no goals in game number 3.
Ooh. Nice job from Sathu, recognizing that's a weak pass out of their own half and really getting in the face. And now we might be able to see Soniqs really stick it to Spacestation. They're in all sorts of trouble.
Typical manages to get back up just in time and make the block after the first whiff. But now Arsenal on the wall. He doesn't have any team to support him and doesn't have enough boost. He'll just take the kind of musty shot off the wall. It's not going to be easily defended by Soniqs. And now back here looking for the Doomsday Dish. Typical's not going to be able to make it happen this time.
They're definitely trying to get on that goal line and throw the defenders off so that that play could have a chance of success. But a nice job on the goal line of the Soniqs to dodge all those demos and make sure they keep this tied up as we hit halftime.
Typical traps this one, flicks Dapper. Sathu easily closes the gap, but Arsenal's got the response. Quick side-by-side action, a miss on the backboard. Sathu makes the save, and now AXB, can he find the pass to Typical? It's airborne, Typical's there, no one's up for it. Oh, but Shock on the goal line, makes the block. Arsenal, can he find the double tap? No, Shock sends it off to the corner, and Sathu will look for the clear. Soniqs dodge that one and keep their goal clean.
Stingy defense, but they're not done yet. There's the demo on the goal line. Can they get it? No, Shock can't get back under the ball. He falls out in front.
Dapper was out of boost. He couldn't close the gap in time. Now AXB looking for Sathu on the goal line. Gets Dapper on the far side, but Sathu emerges with ball control. Looks for the pass to Shock. The game has heated up quickly. It's both teams with good looks and good opportunities.
Oh, AXB.
Looking for the pass.
They were stretching for that one, but Spacestation got to be getting frustrated with the inability to break down the Soniqs defense.
This is dangerous, but AXB will be alone with the ball. Gets it off to the edge, gets a second fall, but Sathu's still there. He put it right onto his hood, and then he finds the demolition. Arsenal, oh, he couldn't quite get it. What a save coming out of his goal. Oh my goodness, Arsenal just took what he had to work with and made it work. We're still scoreless. 124, what a flick over one. Shock should have this ball all to himself, and Typical will get caught out, but now AXB back in and into the blue. Sathu beaten by Typical. Arsenal's not in a position, but one bump. Shock manages to get up. They would need 2 bumps to make that. AXB! Oh, it's so close.
Typical?
They're coming out. Typical
side
flips. Can't make it happen, and Dapper will get a free clear here. What a valiant effort, though, from Spacestation.
Boy, were they trying just about everything, and Arsenal's not done yet.
There it comes off the back. There's Dapper in net getting hounded. The shot is wide. Dapper still makes the clear. Oh my goodness. 48 seconds left. Typical now up against Sathu, and it's off to the edge. AXB and Arsenal both on the wall. They have to make this clear, and they do. Typical looks for the shot, but not going to happen. And Dapper was on the goal line. Now Arsenal across. Typical makes the half rotation, turns back in. Up against Sathu. He's got to pass one, but getting bumped in the corner. Now AXB with a little bit of space. Dapper slows it down, flicks side past Arsenal, over to Shock. Can he get it on the Typical? The bump, AXB still closes in. That's why you got the 3 players. The rotation works perfectly. And with 18 seconds, man, overtime is looking likely, but these teams are firing on all cylinders.
And Dapper just doing such a great job picking up all the small pads to keep himself in rotation. Despite all the stolen boost from Spacestation Gaming, it has just been a dogfight in the midfield, and that's down for Arsenal, and it will be on the ground. Let's go to OT. This has been a great game 3.
This will either be an 18-second overtime or a 5-minute slog. One or the other. Here comes Arsenal with nearly gets the bump on Shock in the air, but it wouldn't have really mattered. Dapper with
they're
the
through.
Touch. And here comes the Shock pass to Dapper. It's just in 12. Okay, I was almost at 18 seconds.
You're a smart guy, Wave.
But what a game! Soniqs finally find the crack. Wow. A little bit of a double commit in the midfield.
Yeah, exactly. They pulled 2 people out, and all Shock had to do was just beat the one guy with a great touch to the sidewall. And the double commit combined with the demo as Soniqs tried to push up field just means it's an easy roller. And what was a thrilling Game 3 comes to a screeching halt in overtime.
It's funny because I think if we hadn't gone to overtime and had the reset of the kickoff, the game would have just kept on going and kept on going.
Yeah.
That momentary stop playing, reevaluate, it changes players' mentality so much for some reason. You have to go, now what were you doing? Do it again. And here, that was the overtime moment. That was the very moment they won the game, and we won to Neo Tokyo.
And you're absolutely right. There is something to be said about a kickoff resetting everything as you go into an overtime, because there's a whole host of what's the word I want?
Reasons.
Factors. Thank you. There's a whole bunch of those things that come into play before overtime starts. You have to take into account that there are spots on the pitch where the big boost pads haven't respawned, and one team has possession of all of those, and the timing's behind them. And the other team could have 0 boost as they're fighting for overtime, because as they try and push up the field, there's going to be nothing there. It's going to make the offense stall out. And as soon as overtime hits, then everything gets reset back to even odds. And it's just everything's back in a completely level playing field. Nobody has any particular amount of possession or anything like that. So all the pressure gets evened out and wiped off the board. And then Space Station goes for boost on the kickoff, and then they double commit as they try and get to the midfield play, and then Shock just rolls the ball in. Easy peasy.
Yeah. Well, we'll go into Game 4. Soniqs with a 1-game lead. They're on match point. They can win it here in Game 4 and prove Corelli right. Sathu here playing against his old team.
Yep.
Used to play for Space Station here. This is actually the first time he's gotten to play against his former roster. I'm sure it would feel good to get the win.
He was unfortunately on the Space Station roster that had all the shooting percentage issues.
Yes.
And it's nice to see them have nice pass. Unfortunately, not as much success to start off game.
Well, they got rid of Sathu, so, things improved. That's how they would see it anyway. Space Station with the infield pass. Arsenal is typical. A quick 1-2 will give them a goal, something they could not find in 5 minutes and 12 seconds in Game 3. And they'll start early. Be over the top of 2 on the kickoff. Dapper will have this one all to himself. And Arsenal airborne quickly. A nice attack. Now looks for Shock, but we'll send it off to the side. Arsenal now looks for goalies. Typical. Can he find the pass? Actually, just goes for himself, and AXB demolished in the midfield, so Typical's plan is good, but Arsenal will have this ball all to himself, but no velocity on this thing. It's going to be hard to get it to go anywhere. Shock and Dapper, a little bit of a double commit, and Sathu very tightly positioned. If they were able to beat him here, they'll get a free goal, but oh my goodness, he nearly finds the goal himself, and now Dapper looks for the back passes. Shock can rotate it out. It'll be a Shock ball.
Oh, the demo
on Typical, and Arsenal off to the edge. The defensive Space Station holding on the back line despite the frontline harassment.
And nice communication there from Soniqs as Shock calls off Dapper to go over his head, but it's a one-on-one, and they won't make it. Sathu is late on the rotate back, and an open goal.
Soniqs have been very aggressive here in Game 4.
There was just not enough boost. Sathu, as he rotated through that Space Station half, tried to go steal away that Space Station corner boost, and it wasn't there. So he wasted a few precious moments. And those few moments spent for going for a boost that wasn't there cost him a goal.
Space Station in the game they won in this series. Game 2, they went up 3-0, but will it happen? No, AXB with a stop. Shock will finish it off. Not going to happen here in Game 4. Sonics keep it within striking distance.
Much needed goal, and a great job from Shock to just push that into the middle. AXB, he hit the lip as he was rotating into the goal, so he didn't have as much control to go and get that strong clear into the corner. Just ends up dropping it right in front of the goal, and it gets pounced on.
Honestly, for hitting the lip, that's a pretty solid save.
Yeah.
This is too bad for him. Shock was right there. Now Sathu looks for AXB in net. Here comes Dapper with the shot, and he puts it in to tie the game. It was all set up by the harassment in net, and Dapper did not miss.
Out of nowhere, a 2-goal swing, and he just gets right in Arsenal's face, and Arsenal tries to play it off the wall, and there it is. The harassment and the goal from all of Soniqs as they just get right in the face of Space Station and force him to dodge some demos. And Dapper, that's just a beautiful piece of shooting.
Went from a 0-0 into overtime, Game 3. And what's kind of turning into a shootout here is the pass comes across. AXB's not going to be able to find that second touch, and Typical doesn't like how closely positioned all of his team is. He falls back onto defense here. He'll make the stop. Now Arsenal, not enough boost to be able to challenge that ball. Arsenal will get up in time to make one stop. Typical with a miss. AXB's got to find the clear. Typical should be in this corner, and he'll extend it. Now behind this, a nice kill on 1. Can he find it on 2? No, Shock pushes it through. Now AXB challenges. Arsenal, the last player back. It's off the wall, but there's no one to take it as everyone has to rotate back on the defense. Space Station on the long clear will find the counter back to mid. AXB trying to connect with Arsenal in this corner. Actually going to go for it himself. Arsenal was the bait.
Ah, nice.
Fake on one. Dapper with the stop. Arsenal back into the box. Sathu's got it away. Soniqs' corner defense has honestly been perfect this entire series. I don't think one time anything's gotten through. Well, now crossed halftime, tied up at 2 apiece. Soniqs looking for that lead to finish off the game here, finish off the match. Their first win in RLCS Season 9. Sathu through 2, onto the side. Here comes Dapper, up against Sypical. Now pass back across Dapper. Should be able to slow this one down, but it kind of just pinballs off a bunch of cars. Now back to the corner.
Soniqs' communication has just been on point. They're willing to let challenges go in situations where many teams we've seen. Oh, big miss, Shock, it's free!
No! What had happened? He harassed me. The harassment was all he needed.
So AXB, he's got this all the way. He just missed the ball.
Just the whiff.
I think he was either thinking that ball was going to roll, and he just didn't quite expect it to bounce as hard as he did, as hard as it did. It just got right by him, and that is a big mistake. But thankfully, you got time to fix it.
They have time to come back, but you know AXB is going to kick himself if that's the one that loses them the series. Easily the biggest defensive mistake of the match so far as Arsenal drops this down. Now Sathu with the counter. All of a sudden, Soniqs find themselves with the lead and happy to play clock game. We'll see what they do. 1:40, plenty of game time. This one's definitely not out of reach just yet, but Dapper through 1. Now Arsenal. Shock. Spacestation keeps playing in this corner, and I'm telling you, it's never going to work.
Oh, yeah.
Sathu to Dapper. Dapper finds it nearly. It's off the crossbar. Sathu off the edge again. One more double tap. Here comes the third shot from Shock. He keeps it high. He's still got boost to work with, but at this point, Spacestation will have reset. Be able to find some blocks. Dapper manages to get it through the front line. Sathu up, but Arsenal's got the block.
Man, Soniqs sending the house for that one. They were trying everything. Keep it high, make Spacestation waste the boost, and this is all Sypical can do just to try and buy some time for them with the ball.
Just give his teammates time to reset, refill the tanks. AXB demolished. Despite the advance, now Sypical over to the side. Another demo in the midfield. Sathu, this ball might be in, but Sathu gets it. In the final minutes, Spacestation trying to hold on and send us to Game 5. Soniqs looking for their first win of Season 9 and their debut performance here of RLCS. There's Arsenal onto the side. Oh, more comes down.
Spacestation trying vitally.
Look for it. Shock's got to stop. Final 30 seconds. Sathu over the top of AXB, and that'll burn a lot of time. Sypical's going to need a few touches to get this one out.
Oh, that's dangerous.
It on 2. Dapper's got it off the wall. Oh, there's the stush from Shock again. These clears. An absolutely insane clear. And again, Sypical has to make the play all the way out of his own half. Arsenal tries first. Now AXB. Sypical looking for the pass from Arsenal. It drops down to him, but Shock cuts it off. The interceptions are too good, and the clock will expire. Soniqs improved to 1-1 in their maiden voyage.